my family, this is known simply as the postcard. The postmark says 1983. My father, an attorney who had lived his entire life in Alabama, went to a conference at Harvard, and he had a dream for me. Dear Caroline, the smartest people in America come to school here. I've enrolled you to start in 1995 because you qualify. Love, Daddy. He hadn't actually enrolled me, of course. Harvard doesn't usually admit first graders. And I didn't even remember this postcard existed until I found it in a box in 1995 when I was about to make my college decision. But I had already applied to Harvard. And when I was accepted, I decided to enroll. I followed the script many young people in small towns throughout this country follow. My script was that I was raised to leave. In the fall of 1995, I did leave. And from there, I continued following my script with its logline of small town girl lives the dream. I graduated from Harvard. I worked on the White House staff, I picked up a law degree, and for the past 15 years, I've made a career in the entertainment industry, executive producing hit shows such as The Real Housewives of New Jersey. But the script was missing something. I had been following a script instead of living a life. Achievement, not fulfillment, had been my goal. And so, a little over a year ago, I decided to throw out the script and move home to Alabama. I called my mom, and she thought I was kidding. I wasn't. 2 weeks later, I bought a house, and here I am, making my life in the town that raised me to leave. I say town because it wasn't just my parents who raised me to leave. In a small town like ours, many people, teachers, community leaders, see young people with potential and think what's best is to prepare them to swim in a bigger pond. The big pond is where the opportunities are. And that's true. I am so grateful for the experiences I have had throughout this country. But even though I was raised to leave, the best decision I've ever made was to come home and to commit myself to making my community stronger. I came home because of a gratitude that I have for this community making me who I am, and I am committed to repaying that gratitude by creating more opportunities for our young people to make our community stronger. When I came home, it really hit me how many of my friends from growing up don't live here. They're living out of state or in a bigger city in Alabama. They were raised to leave too. And this is a problem, not just for communities like ours, but for communities like ours throughout the country. I'm not arguing that all of our young people should stay where they were raised. That's not the problem. Leaving is good. The problem is that, for the most part, these young people leave and they don't come back. Let's take a look at Alabama. A few examples. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and Apple CEO Tim Cook were born here. Alabama made them and lost them. How would Alabama be different if they came home? Can you imagine? What if, instead of going to Apple as CEO, Tim Cook brought his genius home to Alabama and created a new Silicon Valley here? What if, instead of going to Stanford after her tenure as Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice came to one of our great universities in Alabama? How would Alabama be stronger? 9% of college-bound students in this state attend college out of state. Few return. Right now, the next Condoleezza Rice and Tim Cook are out in the world somewhere learning the skills that could transform the state. Why don't they come back? Some of it, I think, has to do with Alabama not having a history of being welcoming to minorities. And we still have work to do as a state to change that, but we are making progress. We need to make change on another front as well. We need to change the conventional success narrative. In this narrative, success means competing and achieving in the big pond, not being a big fish in a small pond. Success means going to Harvard. It means working in Silicon Valley or in the White House. Success means following the script. And in this script, coming home equates to failure. I've lived this. I started thinking about coming home almost 2 years ago, but I kept it to myself for months. What would people think? Would people in my TV world talk about how I quit? Maybe they would say I couldn't cut it. These fears were very real to me. I worried that nothing I had achieved to that point in my life would matter if I threw out the script. And now, I wish I'd thrown out the script earlier. I used to get Facebook messages all the time. Wow, you are living the life. You have the coolest job. I was an executive producer on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, which was a pop culture phenomenon. I posted pictures on social media with housewives from shoots in exotic locations at cool parties with celebrities. I looked like a success. I was following the script. You want to know what's not in the script? Success meant that I worked 365 days a year, ate 3 meals a day at the office, was on call 24/7. Success meant angry housewives calling me in the middle of the night to yell at me about editorial decisions in the latest episode. Success meant spending holidays with their families, not mine. Success meant not having a date for years. Success didn't feel much like success. I've spent years in reality TV, and what we do is we take dozens, if not hundreds, of hours of footage capturing real life and craft it into a tight 43-minute narrative. We throw out anything that doesn't fit the narrative. What I didn't realize was that I had edited down my own life in the same way to fit the conventional success narrative. I'm a storyteller, and I know my story isn't unique. People throughout this country are following the script I followed. Perhaps many people who are watching are achieving instead of living. And I ask, does it make you happy? Is it enough? Do you miss your family, the people you grew up with? Do you want your life to have more meaning? Do you dream of going home and starting over? Are you worried about what people will think? Don't be. Come home. Throw out the script and live a life. That's what I'm doing. When I decided to move, I had no idea how I would make money. Today, I'm producing and editing shows from my house in my pajamas. When I decided to move, I knew I wanted to make a difference in my community. Today, I'm running for state senate and talking to people every day about how we can make our community stronger. When I decided to move, my relationships with my family had been distant for years because of my focus on success. Today, those relationships fulfill me. When I decided to move, I had no idea how to relax. Now, I know what a good night's sleep can do for your outlook on life. And I'm still working on the dating thing, but I'm living life, perhaps for the first time in my life. Life is in the hours of raw footage. Life is not an edited TV show. Life is not the conventional narrative of success. Now, throwing out the script and moving home doesn't mean giving up on achievement. It means broadening the focus beyond achievement, something that isn't all that doable if you're living in a city where the cost of living is exorbitant and where your only focus must be success if you're going to keep climbing the ladder. So, what can you do if you throw out the script and come home? Change your communities? Change people's lives? Do what you want to do for a living, but live at the same time? You can do all these things by coming home. Having our native sons and daughters decide to come home isn't enough. We must welcome them, and we can. Technology has put the world at our fingertips. Entrepreneurs don't have to be in big cities anymore to start successful companies. And this is an opportunity for communities in states like ours to raise our young people to leave and then to come home. States like Alabama roll out the red carpet to bring big companies here with tax incentives and partnerships. What if we do the same for our native sons and daughters? What if we invest and then coming home? How will that change our communities? What if there's a coder working his way up the ladder at one of the big tech companies in Silicon Valley? What if he has an idea for an innovative company he dreams of starting someday? What if we make that someday today by offering seed money and help to get his business started? What if there's a designer waiting for a big break with the talent to start a successful fashion line, or a chef wanting to open a restaurant? We have amazing designers here. We have world-class restaurants here. We also have empty buildings here. What if we seek out these young people and offer them help to start new businesses? How will that change our community? We already have programs in the Shoals, such as Shoals Shift, to incubate ideas and nurture entrepreneurs to shift our economy to the future. What if programs like this seek out our native sons and daughters and bring them home? What will the future look like? I tell you what I see. If we bring our native sons and daughters home, there will be a ripple effect. It will change our communities, create jobs, and make our communities places where young people want to live and thrive. We can make success equal coming home. And then when we write postcards to our kids, we can say, go off, experience the world, and then come home. We'll be ready for you. Thanks.